Welcome to Storybreakers, a writing chops podcast where we come up with a brand new film idea off the top of our heads. And if you like it, it's yours. I'm your host, Chris Brennan, and with me to break story today is the co-writer and co-director of the 2019 thriller Killers Within, Mr. Paul Bushe. Paul, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Chris. Looking forward to it. It's going to be good crack.
Absolutely. So, to catch people up to speed, this was a podcast series that I ran with a co-host, Stevie Ryan, for a few years ago. And basically what we're doing is off the top of our heads with just a collaborative mindset and a sprinkle of creativity. We're going to build a story from beginning to end. And how we can do this is a couple of different ways. One, the guest will come in with just the smallest granule of a story idea, and we go from there. Or we play something called the Storybreakers game, where I ask a couple of multiple choice questions to get us into the ingredients of what the story could be. Or the third one, in case of emergency, I dig into the mystery box of concepts that I have, and I'll pull one out, and we have to do that one. So, Paul, which way would you like to go today?
Okay, so I think I did the old version of this podcast once or twice. Yeah, and I was talking today about the last time I think I was on, and we broke a story about how we put Blade into the MCU through Daredevil, the TV show.
Okay.
Which I still think will be a great way to have done it. But yeah, let's go for option two. If you want, let's do a bit of Q&A and start refining our ideas and see where we go.
Okay, let's get started. So, first question is, what genre are we playing with today?
Okay, so if anyone's seen Killers Within or anything myself and Brian have made, we like to kind of blend genres. It's Brian Neal, my co-director, co-writer. So we like blending like horror, thriller. So I'm a big fan of horror. So I think if we could do some kind of like maybe sci-fi horror, something like that'd be cool.
Fantastic. Okay,
Yeah.
so when is it going to be set? The past, the present, or the future?
I think it's like obligatory that sci-fi is the future. So yeah, let's just say the future.
So no cowboys versus aliens in this one.
Not in this one. No, not in this one.
Cool. So it's a science fiction horror. All right. So are we saying like a set in space then, or is it set on Earth?
Yeah, it could be space. It could be on a planet. It could be I guess recently of maybe the genres in my mind, because I kind of went back and I was watching things like Event Horizon. I was watching things like Ghosts of Mars. I was watching, Ghosts of Mars is set on Mars. Yeah, a bit of a take on Doom, I suppose, or Event Horizon, Pandorum. I love all those kind of films, and it feels like we haven't got one in a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a lot of those are
that,
set
maybe.
more on like spaceship or on a planet. So you want to be off Earth for this
Yeah,
horror sci-fi.
spaceship or planet or and I suppose they're all the technology in them is always kind of very rugged. They're all inspired by aliens. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
And
Truckers
aliens.
in space.
So yeah, like that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that texture is good. Lends itself to horror real well.
So the next question is, who is our protagonist? Is it a male or is it a female?
Okay, so you're doing a sci-fi horror.
Yeah.
If you go female, you'd be accused of copying Ripley. If you go male, I don't know. Is there any? I was trying to think. You don't want to kind of craft a story on subverting expectations, but you also don't want to craft a story where people immediately think you're copying something. So
we can come back to this one after the next question.
Oh no, I got some. Let's say teenage twins.
Wow.
And do let's do teenage twins, boy and a girl, something like that.
Okay, excellent. The next question was going to be, what is their profession? And so I guess if they're teenagers, would you consider them students, or would they already have a job? Teenage twins.
Are they I don't know, is it like a colony ship? And they're going off to start a colony somewhere? Are they just is it a family space trucker business? I don't know. And like they just live on the space truck with their parents or something like that. You know, like just it's the family business driving a space truck around. You know, hauling cargo around space.
I really like the family
Now it's a
business
big truck,
aspect.
you know, with a crew. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if
I
you remember like Star Trek Enterprise, the guy who was the pilot of the ship, his family were space truckers essentially.
Oh, interesting. So then they
Yeah,
are
yeah.
on it. It's a family owned business. Is it like handed down by generations and the father is looking for the one of or both of the twins to take on the business afterward, but they want to pursue other things, or are they eager to take it on?
Um, but I guess like something like a space, like you have a big spaceship, you have that is a long term commitment. Um, yeah, let's just say it's a family business going on. I don't know, 2 3 generations. Do they want to keep it going? I don't know. Like you know, they could have an older sibling who's going to keep the business going, and they're just like maybe they're a loose end, you know,
They're
and
the
there's
spare, is that it? Like the heir and the spare.
they're
So
the spare. Okay, yeah. They're the spare. They're the spare. The unlikely, you know, protagonists who are just hanging around.
so when I think of family business kind of truckers in space, are we saying like specifically they're like a vessel to help broke down vessels in space? So similar to like if your car breaks down, somebody comes by and tows you. I imagine there's got to be some kind of service like that for like the future in space
Yeah,
with
I
spaceships.
hadn't, I hadn't kind of, yeah, I hadn't thought of that one. I like that because that's the joke because it is always like a haulage thing or like, you know, like there's that Chris Pratt flick as well, and it was like I can't remember what it was, and
Passengers, was it?
you
With
know, it was just like it's always like that's it, yeah, and like it's always kind of like we're bringing like you know colonists to a new planet and something goes wrong and the
yeah.
cryo chambers, yeah, look maybe they're a breakdown service, you know,
That's unique because I mean,
um,
even the first
you
Alien,
know,
they went on a reconnaissance slash rescue mission to
yeah,
investigate a signal. So that we're playing similar to that because immediately, if they're a
yeah,
rescue, if they come by and find a vessel that needs to be towed, we could choose to go this way. We don't have to, but kind of the obvious way is they get
mm.
to a thing and an abandoned ship, and that's basically the setup for chaos, basically.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know I like that because it's like it can be how you frame it, because you can frame it where like Alien, Event Horizon, all those movies. Look, they're going to get a ship that's broken down or something. Fine,
Yeah,
but they're like that's not their day to day. Like you could build a world in the future where it's like, man, there's so many spaceships, and like it's just another day at the office. This is not a big deal
yeah,
to go get a broken down, you know, freighter or whatever it's meant to be. This is just like standard operating procedure. We do 2 to 3 of these a week, you know. So when they maybe go on board, there's nothing cautious about it. It's just like this, the same old thing, just another day at the office for them, you know.
yeah.
And that would make it different to other movies we're seeing, but it's always like, you know, something has gone missing under suspicious circumstances, and we've
Mhm.
lost contact, and we got to send Marines in or whatever, you know.
Yeah. So in those other examples, it's like we have to save a crew, or like Event Horizon is a one of our ships disappeared in a black hole and reappeared. Let's go see
That's
what
it.
happened. Alien was
Go see what happened.
truckers are like being taken off their route to go look at something. This ain't my job, man. Like I need a pay rise and
That's
all these
it.
kind of
Yeah,
things,
yeah.
you know? So what we could do, which would also be different, is play with the familial dynamic quite a lot. Like, so you say that there's an older brother
Yeah,
who's the heir apparent. You could still have the dad or the family figures or the more leadership figures just trying to get these twins to kind of like learn the basics of this, you know? Like, can you just come over? I know you're not
yeah,
going to learn, but
yeah,
just come over here. So even I know what jumping
yeah,
ahead,
yeah.
but even if they get on, or we start first with a normal routine. So they go to a ship, it's broken down, and they're helping to tow it. So nothing happens, but this is like the first act setup, and the father's
Yeah,
already
let's set
trying
up
to,
that's set up a day in the life,
yeah.
Yeah. Like
And
you can
so
imagine, like even like if an Edgar Wright or someone directed it, it's going to be like, you know, all that kind of cutting and showing time passing. It's like crash bang wallop. We just get through. Here it is. Here's a snapshot of their life, and like exhausted at the end of the day, and off we go to the next job.
yeah, but you can have that fun, and there'd be a bit of humor too. Like, I don't know, it could be just the towing. Like, first, the father
Yeah,
shows up and tries to see if he can repair it and basically jump start it. It doesn't jump start, so he has to
yeah,
tow
yeah,
it.
yeah,
And while he's doing this, these twins are just goofing around. He's like, "Would you stop? Like, would you like someday you're gonna have
mm,
to do this?" No, we won't. That's John's job.
yeah,
And it's like,
yeah,
maybe not. You still need to
yeah,
learn if you're gonna work for him. And we
yeah,
give
yeah.
them other aspirations, and we can have a lot of fun with what their aspirations are. Um, that should be
Mm,
probably completely different than the kind of um, physical labor nature of like running a towing company in space, basically.
exactly. The kids it's to resist the thing of them being like tech geniuses or something, and like let's not make them that they're like super smart and like they have to be out of their depth.
Yeah.
Um they're, as you said, they're like they're not getting involved in the family business. They're resistant to learning. So what are they
Hmm.
doing? Like they're playing video games all day, or are they like running around? Are they look? Are they dreaming of a different career and breaking the dad's heart or the mother's heart, or like let's flip it. Like maybe it's like maybe like the father's dead, and maybe the mother runs the ship, and like she has the older son who's going to take it on, but she's like wrecked, overworked, and the son and like the twins are like just messing the whole time.
I really
Now
like that.
with regards to what else there is to them, I don't know.
I really like that because it's not even her chosen vocation. It would have been her husband's. He died. She's carrying it on.
Yeah.
So she doesn't even want to do it, which puts more of an onus on trying to get her oldest to take over and get support from the twins. Now, quick question before we go further. What are the genders of the twins? Is it two boys, two girls, both mix?
I think it's boy, girl, some of that. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Mix it up. Um,
And we could change what their
lend itself to more dynamics.
yeah, absolutely. So we can change what they
Yeah.
want to do later if need be, because I imagine that'll probably influence the story, or it's kind of like what they're interested
Mm,
should organically kind of come back or swing back again and even help them in their obstacles later on. But just to play with it, yeah. So if we wanted to get away from, we have the mother, her her husband died, she's taken over the business, she hates it. This is literally like
yeah.
the worst thing for her. So she's trying to get,
Yeah.
she's working hard with her um morally upright, studious oldest son who's really trying too. And these bratty twins are just along for the ride, basically. But they've got their own
Mm,
aspirations, and their aspirations wouldn't be in those kind of repair oriented, like physical
yeah.
technology things.
Nomadic lifestyle. Yeah. Yeah. They're
Yeah.
not that.
So maybe it would be something
So I
where
guess it's
they
like,
want to go to
mm,
a planet. They're like, we're tired of living in this drifting planet. We're
mm,
basically pirates. It's like we want
yeah, yeah.
a stability. So maybe to get away from the we do nothing all day stuff, maybe they are just like they would like real jobs on a planet, and that's where they want to go to.
Mm,
So we could go a different route and make it funny, but it does feel a little cliched going like they just want to goof around all day or become
yeah.
celebrities. Yeah.
And like maybe it is that like it's like the family's tired, they've done this for a long time, presumably the father maybe died in like some accident to do with the job, I don't some repair work, something went wrong, I don't know. And look, maybe it's not just a routine breakdown they go to. Maybe it's like, look, the mother and the older son decide, look, you know, the teenagers, like, this is not for them, and like whatever about it is, maybe it's a case of taking on a bigger job that we haven't taken on, like a bigger ship, or a breakdown that's further afield, further outside our route, that gets them off their normal beaten track, that kind of would, if something happens to them, they'll find it harder to get help, or they'll be lost or something like that, so maybe it's like, okay, the mission is, we need a bigger score, we're going to we'll take on a job we don't normally take on,
because probably the
and we'll
ship,
go
their
to a
ship,
different sector or system.
yeah, their ship is old and beat up, and it's in severe need of repairs. And so in order to do that, they take on another job, and they probably have like weight limits where it's like, look, if we can't fix this gigantic ship, we probably can't tow it. It could actually wreck our ship by trying to tow it, which obviously that kind of thing will pay off with us later, because then we can get them stranded.
Exactly.
Like, we would like to strand them, right? Like, if they can just get in their ship and fly away at any time, then there goes our drama. Our drama is becoming a small dot in space, far away from them. So yeah, that's cool. And then to add a little more twist.
Exactly. So they get a gig that they get a gig they have to go to, but even getting to it kind of drains their ship. So their ship is a bit beat up when they get there, and they're nearly fixing their own ship and the other ship to get going. That's probably where they are.
To add a little more drama too, the mother, right before they go, like right when they get there, or right before they head off for this mission, finds like tickets, or like some kind of message that the twins have already booked themselves into like a course, or got jobs on a planet somewhere. So basically the kids have went around the family, the mother and the older brother, and they're planning on escaping and going to a planet. So she's like, what are you, like, we have no time for this. Like, we have no time. Like, we're this, and while she's saying it, like, things are just hissing in the background. And she's like, we need to get this ship repaired so we can go and repair that ship. We have no time for this nonsense. Like, we'll talk about this when we're back. I think that'd be kind of cute, because that's very modern, familial. Well, it's evergreen, but people can relate to that kind of relationship dynamic, but it's in this new, unique setting.
And like that does speak to a lot of families as well. Like, even like the kids don't want to take on that family business. They don't want to be maybe working in agriculture or whatever it is. They want to move to the big city and live the modern, sweet lifestyle. So they're off planning that. So yeah, that sounds good. So what are we saying? So they take on a gig, they venture outside their comfort zone, they get to a ship. Their ship's a bit in rag order by the time they get there. Maybe their jump drive or whatever it is broke on the way. So jumping, like let's just say it's like a Battlestar Galactica. They have to jump between locations, and it's further than they normally jump, and it's damaged their jump drive. So they're stranded, but they're not too stressed, because they're just going to repair the ship, repair their own ship, and hit the road.
Yes.
They go on board. Okay, here's a question. So if you look at the likes of, it's not to copy, it's like, what's more interesting? Is it aliens on board, or is it like a deadly pathogen on board, or is it like, I don't know, something that crew brought on board that turned them all to zombies, or is it just like evil lunatic humans, or like, like Reavers from Firefly, or like, it's like, this can be anything, I suppose. What's in that ship when they open up? It can be literally anything. What's the threat?
Have we ever seen like a ghost, like a ghost in space, like a haunted house, like where weird things happen, and there's like a kind of like The Conjuring, where there's a demon, and this is like the space equivalent of that, where it's kind of Like I always think of these threats as like in you have Alien with an alien. Then there was
Mm,
the Joss Whedon Firefly film. Do you remember what that was?
that's it.
What?
The Reavers, yeah,
Yeah, and that was because of
Reavers.
some kind of pathogen, right? That kind of made them go
That's it.
crazy.
There's a pathogen. Yeah. Like in the show Firefly, the show, they didn't explain what the Reavers were, and then in the
Yes,
movie Serenity, they explained where
Serenity.
the
That's
Reavers
what it's
came
called.
from. And yeah, that was like, yeah, there was like that was like a they basically pumped into the atmosphere a calming agent that
Yes.
actually killed a lot of the population and turned the rest mad that survived. Um, yeah, I think in Pandorum, I think it was like also like maybe like a weird, I think it was like an alien goo or something that made everyone into like vicious, self-mutilating monsters. You know, Mad Max it up.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of the haunting, look, I know Event Horizon was sort of like they went to a different dimension and they came back, and it was like it was evil, it had possessed the ship. But like, what if it is like literally like a ghost? I don't know. Yeah, like ghosts or like spirits or
I've never
something
thought
like
of that.
like
Like that's what's
no,
so what's
like they
immediately
took
intrigued
on
me.
like they took on this spaceship went to some planet and they like took some like artifact from the planet that was haunted. I don't know,
It's a curse. Yeah.
you know,
Like what if you
and
if it also
yeah,
gives us
it's on
such
board now.
it gives us such a great lineage of horror films that we can kind of pilfer from that have nothing to do with science fiction,
Mm,
but like a cursed
true. Yeah,
item
yeah.
is like you've taken this, you've read this thing, you've opened this box, or maybe not the Pandora box thing, but like you've encountered this person
Oh, they did
who
Hellraiser. Yeah, so the Hellraiser has a box, isn't it?
that's true. Yeah, that's like hell
Yeah,
on earth, or yeah. It's in the
yeah,
title.
yeah, yeah.
It's in the title, Chris.
True,
Yeah,
true.
no, I think there
Yeah.
could be something very fun there. So we can actually even go a little old fashioned and kind of classic
Mm,
with this. And
yeah.
then there could be survivors on board. So it isn't just a three-person
Of
story.
course. Yeah.
We could play with the
Mm,
fact that someone feels like they're a lunatic who's like, but it's just somebody who's been tortured for like X amount of months, surviving from like where other people have perished or went mad from the this haunting. But yeah, I mean, it could be a
mm.
ghost, it could be a demon. Like we'll probably have to figure that out because there are different
Yeah, yeah,
things, right? Like the demon is more of a vicious
yeah.
entity that finds weaknesses in a person and takes them over, but they manipulate the environment around them. Where a ghost is normally like this is in modern kind of concepts. It's
Mm.
somebody who is wronged in life and are around until somebody can help them right that wrong, and then they kind of leave. So they're not normally as antagonistic in their motivation, whereas a demon's like straight up evil. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I
I
think
get
this
that.
is
Yeah,
this is
yeah, yeah.
definitely the avenue we can go down, and it's
Mm.
unique and fresh. So let's just say to kind of
True,
wrap
true.
up the first act, father's dead, mother's taken over the business, hates it. The older brother helps. They have twin teenagers who want to set up their life elsewhere. Their ship is in disrepair. They really need like to get income in. And with the father debt who died, they're not getting offers much because people don't trust the company without the guy who ran it for 40 years or whatever. So this one
Yeah,
opportunity
yeah,
comes
yeah,
up.
yeah.
It's a big ship. They probably shouldn't take it, but they actually need it. Otherwise, they can't even survive themselves on their own ship. So they agree to go. Right before that happens, the twins, and we should name these guys because otherwise it'll get complicated. But the twins,
Yeah, yeah.
the mother
That's the
finds
hard
out
bit,
that
actually naming people.
yeah, the mother finds out the twins are planning on leaving without telling anybody. And so she discovers this. We'll talk about it later, but let's just get this job done. They go along the
Mm.
way.
And we say twins. Yeah. Sorry, go on.
When they're going, they're having difficulty with their jump capacity. And I could even imagine like every time it jumps, it gets like halfway. like from the previous jump. So
Mm.
they're really struggling. And finally they get there, and it's this behemoth of a, it's basically like the equivalent of a haunted mansion, you know, like this gigantic place or this gigantic vessel. And they're like, what are we supposed to do if we can't fix this? Like, we can't drag this, like, not with our capabilities. We need to fix
Mm.
the ship, you know. And it's like, look, let's just go in and investigate. Your older brother John or whatever, he's not seen a ship yet that he can't repair. So most likely we don't even have to get we don't have to tow it, you know. So yeah, before we go
Perfect.
further, let's
Perfect.
name
Yeah.
them.
Dig it.
Let's name these
Okay.
characters.
And
What would,
also, let's age the movie because, like,
yeah,
if they're planning to go their own route, are we talking like 16?
I
You
imagine
know,
so,
like
yeah.
if yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's initially I was thinking maybe like 14, but I think 14 for that won't work. It's too young, and 16 is probably more appropriate. I don't know. Let's say, oh, come on, you go, Chris. Go on.
Sure.
You do
So
one. You do the first one. I'll do the next one.
okay, I'll do the mother, and her name is Nora.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, yeah. Okay. I'll do the older brother, and the older brother's name is Sam.
Okay, great classic name. Now
Okay.
we can go a little wild with the kids.
Keep it short.
Yeah.
So you're up next. Go
Okay.
on.
So the what, like, one of them, the boy is called Wake.
Okay.
Gotta do a little zany, right?
Getting very creative on that one.
Yeah, you like
Ah,
that, don't
yeah,
you?
yeah, that's good. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's good. It's good. Okay,
Gave
now
you
we
too
need
much
something.
pressure now.
Okay,
Now you're like,
we've
you got to
upped
be
it.
creative. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we've upped it. All right, let's say Thea.
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 Yeah, great. Thea.
Yeah,
Okay.
cool. Wake and Thea. Okay,
Nora, Sam, Wake, and Thea.
let's do
Great. I
it.
like it.
Do
Okay.
they sound like a family? I don't know.
Doesn't
They
matter.
sound like people anyway. Good.
Yeah, yeah,
Doesn't
yeah.
matter. Get it going. Good.
Sweet. So should we get right to the
Okay.
point where
So
they get to the ship? That's probably where we should be now. We kind of figured out the
yeah,
opening and
yeah.
whatever. We call these the dirty first draft. So it's like,
Mm.
if we were to actually do this, you'd probably want to go back, kind of keep rewriting, because that's exactly what you should do. But yeah, so we've got our first acts. What I love is it's based specific.
Cool.
We spend most of the time building the family, the dynamic, their wants and needs, and I think that's always better and more interesting than
Mhm.
starting with what the creature is, because it's like that could be anything, you know. Like, so
Oh, the story is like, you know, it's like, do they get what they want? Do they get what they need? That's the plot of every, like, that's the end of the third act, like, you know. So it's
yeah,
like, you have to know what people want and need because it informs how they act throughout the whole movie. Like, if they've no wants or no needs to begin the flick, why will they fight to stay alive? What are they doing? You know?
that's it.
So, um, yeah, cool, good.
So what kind of thing,
So
like,
now we just say that, look, fast forward, they open the doors, they go in. Is it the classic, look, the place deserted? But like, maybe do it different. Maybe it's nice inside. It's a nice spaceship. It's not like a dump. Like, it's always like when they go onto these things, it's like the lights are off and flickering, and like there's like gas coming out of tubes, and you know, it's like obviously scary. You know, but like sometimes like, you know, scary stuff is nearly more scary when it's set in bright light or norm, or like, you know, you've
completely, I
somewhere to
love it.
go. Then you have somewhere for the yeah, you have somewhere for the environment to disintegrate into. Like, it can get darker, more things can go wrong, there can be system failures. Like, you know, because like if you walk onto a ship and look, the steam coming out of every pipe and it's dark and there's a bloody water flowing around the place, like, you're just gonna go, this place is banjacks, I'm going, I'm not getting it. Like, you know, the warning signs will go off. So I think it has to be like fairly hospitable and nice to go into initially, um
Do
to
you know what I'm
encourage
thinking
them
of?
to, even to encourage all the family to go on to look around.
I really like the idea that it's a warm, inviting environment. I completely agree. It's like, it even goes that way with dialogue. You know, if you want to make somebody sound tough,
Mm,
like the worst thing you can do is have him say cliched tough things like "I'll beat your ass," you know. Whereas like a calm, quiet, surprisingly soft threat will actually do more damage. So I like if you can just take something that should be nice and kind of you start playing with that. It did remind me of a true story that once we said the haunted house thing, I've been trying to think of unique scenarios and even real life circumstances that we could incorporate in. And so it was one of the founders of the Smith and Wesson gun. They made a lot of money because of the gun. And I think it's the Wessons. When the man died, the wife maintained the fortune and the mansion, but she was going crazy because of the grief of how they made their money, because of probably how many people were killed because of it, that she built this mansion, and basically the doorways and everything made no sense. So like you would go down a hallway and then you'd hit the wall, and she had all these different contractors building it, but nobody knew what each other were building. And the whole purpose behind it, she said, was to confuse the ghosts from getting to her, which is so wild. So maybe there's something like that. Because why does every single spaceship have to be built with logic, reason, and a keen eye on engineering? It could look really great, but we could take a lot of playfulness from this concept of somebody who has this background in grief, and they're kind of annoyed by this, and they're fearful of something, and that can bring it on. Just as an idea for the space itself, I guess that is different if we're saying they went somewhere and brought something on board, but this could be something that we can play with.
But you could take that, like, and if it is a ghost, or if some kind of spirit, and it can project that reality. So like it starts off like maybe it is that thing where it's like it starts off where like it's big open spaces in the ship, and like it's nice and bright and futuristic, and like what you want to see, like like what the Enterprise used to be.
Right.
And then like as it goes, like it is getting worse. It is getting more claustrophobic, and there is more doors, and it is more cut off, and but like maybe the ship isn't changing. Maybe it's the reality being changed by the spirit, and it's being kind of projected into their heads or something. So and it's kind of picking on them maybe one by one and playing tricks on their minds, and feeding into their fears, and like that's why like we have that good setup. It was like, well, what does everyone want, and what's everyone afraid of? Like the mother's afraid of the family falling apart. She doesn't want to lose her kids. Like maybe the ghost is playing on that fear. I'm not quite sure what the older brother's fear is.
Well, I was
the twins' fear is being like stuck forever in space. And
what I just thought of there was maybe the first person who gets possessed is the older brother. So you've taken out legitimately the person who can fix the ship, fix their ship, the person who should be the responsible one, the one who the mothers relied on, is taken out. And what in this dynamic have we just done? We forced the two irresponsible people to have to step up, not only to save themselves, but to save their brother and figure it out. And now we're in classic kind of exorcism, demon possession territory. So that could be the beginning. Like they send the brother on, and he goes on. He'll do it himself. Like it's fine. Like he's like, if the kid, like if the siblings have never helped me anyway, so why start now? They're leaving, So he goes on his own. He just never comes back. And after a while, and so they're sitting on they're sitting on their tow ship, not speaking to each other. The mother's still furious with them. The kids are like chatting to each other about like, well, whatever, man. Like it's our life too, Why should we have to take on the burden of this family and the legacy? And actually, that kind of stuff could have fun with the ghost, with families and legacies, and that kind of thing. But the brother doesn't come back. So what would you do? You'd go on the ship, right? And the mother doesn't want to go alone. So she brings her useless sons and go, he might get hurt. You never know. He's probably can handle himself. That's it. They get on. they're like, I wonder what this beat up wrecked ship looks like on the inside, and it's spectacular. And it's just
Actually,
surprisingly
because you
amazing.
would. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you don't see it till they go on. You see the brother go off, and
Yeah,
then it's like doesn't come back. Time passes. We showed that time passes, and then they have to go on, and it's gorgeous.
yeah,
Um, and maybe even like just backtracking a tiny bit, like before they dock with that ship, to repair it. Surely they'd communicate with it. So like, there's no problem. Like they hail the ship and they get hailed back. But it's the ghost talking.
oh yeah, nice.
Welcome aboard. Blah blah blah. So like it's the ghost letting them on. You know, and yeah. So they don't suspect anything is awry or wrong or strange.
Yeah, they're sure that Sam can fix it. He's fixed them all. They probably don't need to
Yeah.
tow it, but this money will actually go towards themselves. And the kids are like, maybe if the tow truck is fixed and they don't need us anymore, blah blah blah. So Sam doesn't
Yeah.
come back. The ship they're hailing now doesn't respond. Something's wrong. Like,
Yes. Something's wrong.
we need to go on this ship and find out. And I imagine it's like docked, right? Like, so they go through this hallway
Mm,
thing that's extended and connected to the ship, right? They don't get
yeah,
into
it's
spaceship
always
suits
that.
and
Yeah,
go out
yeah.
to it, right?
No,
Yeah. They
no, it's
probably need to get in
connected. Yeah,
space suits
exactly.
to get back. Hey, you never know. But
Yeah, that's always the way as well, isn't it?
yeah.
Like, get in the spaces.
So they get there.
Okay, cool. So they
It's
go on. It's
yeah.
looking good. It's modern, bright, fun. It's the opposite of their ship. Like their
Yes.
ship's wrecked, and this is all lovely. It's like
Yeah.
going to the Hilton when you come from, I don't know, a wrecked gaff.
Yeah. But there
Cool.
is one thing
Okay.
missing. People.
And yeah,
Yeah.
yes,
Where's the
yeah.
people? Like, it's too big for nobody to be
Yeah.
greeting them on the other side. Maybe they
Mm.
expect somebody to should be on the other side. And you could even maybe set up like, how
Mm.
did the door open if nobody let us on? How did it open? Because I imagine
Mm.
someone needs to be on the inside letting them in, right? Which could be a really fun
Mm.
little moment where they get on, they're walking, and the twins are like, how did we get on? And they kind of like walk out of the frame, It's kind of like, I don't understand. And that's this little think of
Mm.
like, what's wrong? There's no one there, and they don't even know how the door opened to let them in.
Yeah. I'm nearly kind of thinking like, I don't know why it's jumping into my head. It was like The Shining,
Hmm.
like big huge house just gradually making you mad. Like it's just haunting you
Yeah.
and turning you crazy. Um, but so like, are you seeing that like Sam is like is he like out of commission? Is he possessed? So like, is Sam the personification of the evil spirit, and it's like Sam coming to kill them, or like
I think you could cruise for
how
a little
is
bit
that?
with him possessed.
Hmm,
Like, so let's say they eventually find him and something's wrong, and you get a little bit of time with waking him up and he's acting a little odd. But I don't think that's the whole thing. I think that
hmm,
it it gets out of him eventually, and now they're being tortured from like the environment, you know. But I think initially that would be fun to meet him and something happened to him, and
hmm.
we're not sure if it's still in him or not. So they don't trust him even when he's good again. So there's a bit of the thing going on, right?
Yeah,
Where it's
yeah,
like the distrust of
yeah.
like,
Oh, yeah. Like that.
all right.
Cool.
So eventually they're walking through. They don't see anybody until they meet Sam. Are we saying that?
Hmm.
Or do they meet people?
Well, like as you said earlier, maybe there's a few survivors hidden away,
Yeah.
but they can't meet them yet. Um, does Sam say he is like a Sam possessed really from the off, and he's like an undercover agent for the evil spirit, and he's slightly off, but he's not fully off, if that makes sense. And he's like, oh yeah, talk to the captain, and whatever. Like he makes up a story that he's met people, and he's been told just get to work on whatever, the hyperdrive or whatever it is, that they didn't have some spare part, and they're, or he says, oh, the captain told me that there was an explosion and the engineer is injured, that's why they called for help, like, because presumably they'll have their own engineering team who could
Yeah.
fix this issue. Like, why would like a space trucker family be able to fix this beautiful big ship? Surely they'd have crew.
Yeah.
So like their engineer got injured in an explosion or like some welding accident or something, and he's just peddling that story to his family, and he's working away.
When they find him, he's unconscious on the ground, and they they help him. They rush him up. They get him lying down, and when he wakes up, he starts telling them like, you know, oh, I don't know what happened. Like, I don't know. It was just, I don't know. And it's like, where's everybody? And he's like, I was speaking to the captain, as you say. And it's like, what captain? Like, where's everybody? And he has that whole thing of like, no,
Mm,
I met them. But they're like, well, where are they? Like, there's nobody here, which is
mm,
great because he's has an entirely
yeah,
different story. He's very calm, which goes into our you don't make scares by creating scary things kind of idea. It's like him being very calm
yeah,
and
yeah,
has an
yeah.
entirely different story to what they're experiencing is unique, and things can happen around
Yes,
them. So it's like, who did he see? Who did he speak to? Is it a real
yes,
person, or did he meet
yeah,
a
yeah,
ghost demon? Or like, I'm happy. I like the idea that he might be possessed, so they start distrusting him. So it's a little
yeah,
way from my first idea of like he's like they have to deal with this possessed character. Instead, it's more insidious, and the environment is fucking
mm,
with them or messing with them instead. So I like that a lot. That's nice.
yeah. And he's like, as the environment becomes more tricky and changing, and whatever the spirit is like changing the environment, and maybe all these, like that kind of like turning the place into what was the big open spaces into more maze-like claustrophobia. It's like the environment is changing, and like Sam is changing and becoming more erratic and more strange and more actually possessed,
Yeah.
or clearly possessed. Um, yeah, you've got all those things in play,
So
as
when
as
he's
they as they tick along.
and he's injured, so you could have um, Nora turn around and tell Wake, go and go to the medical bay and like get some supplies, And so
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
I don't want to go alone. He's like, look at this place, it's beautiful, like it's fine. But that's where like the beginnings of weird things happen. He's on his own. He hates
Exactly.
being
Weird
apart from
things
his
happen.
sister,
Yeah,
you know. And this is before
I think
they
you're
know
playing. Yeah,
this is clearly classic like horror ghost house kind of things, which is great though because I really can't remember much
yeah.
of this specific detail in space. Not played like how we're doing it right
Hmm.
now.
No, I think there you're going to get a few kind of like nice little jump scares or weird things, or like, the opportunity for someone like to do some like excellent stuff like with camera movements and reveals and hints and what's that in the shadows, or what's that in the background, did it move, did it this, did it that, just sort of bringing in that edginess
The
that,
whisper
like, the audience
behind.
are always one step ahead. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, that I hear, like, the audience are all, look, I always think this, like, the audience know they're there to watch a horror movie.
Yeah.
They're always one step ahead of like the characters, because they're like, you're going on a ship, it's going to go wrong, you know but you got to ratchet that tension,
Hmm.
and you mentioned like the thing there. Actually, I watched the thing not that long ago. It was on in the cinema for a couple of screenings, and
Nice.
like the way that just ratchets, it was great. And like it's just like, it splits up the people, and then it's about bringing in that paranoia, and if we do that, where like if we could split the family up a little bit at the top, when you won't have the audience screaming at the movie, why would you split up now?
Yeah.
So, like as you said, Sam goes on his own. It's routine, fine. Okay, now we have to go on. Sam is injured. Wake, go to the medical bay.
Yeah.
Like it's within the realms of like, okay, this is fine. I can believe what they're doing, all that kind of stuff. Like, and we can play with that. Do we need a reason maybe to get Tia to go back to the ship? so they're split up with three groups now. We've got the twins separated, and we've got like Nora and Sam together, just to kind of start ratcheting it up even more. Or
Yeah.
does Nora say, look, Tia, stay with your brother? Maybe Nora says, look, I'm gonna go talk to the captain.
Yeah. Makes total sense.
So maybe when she sends Wake to the, yeah, of course she goes speak to the captain.
What I
So like
think
she
you
said, look,
could
I'm going to the
do
bridge.
with the Wake scenario, he goes to the medical bay, weird things are happening,
Hmm.
maybe something kind of rolls off a table, he hears a whisper, he starts moving towards it, real classic stuff. And then a voice is like, "What are you doing?" And like it's Thea who followed him,
Hmm.
and she's like, "Come on,"
Now,
like,
yeah,
and
yeah,
he's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
"Oh," so in his mind, the whisper could have just been her, and that's kind of, as you say,
Of course, yeah,
ratcheting it
yeah,
up. They get back, they're
yeah,
minding him. I love your next one, and so you're kind of playing on these scenarios, these scenes now that you can have fun in this new environment. Totally makes sense what you just said. The mother's going to be like, oh, okay, look, we got to go find this captain. You guys stay here. I'll be
yeah,
back, because again, now
yeah.
Wake is the only one who feels like something's off. But for her, she's like, I haven't
Hmm.
seen this captain. We got to find him. I want to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
And Sam is like, I can help. And she's like, just lie back down, like, just rest, I'll be back. Let's figure out where the crew is, So then she goes off on her own.
Hmm.
So you have this nice little kind of
Yeah.
dynamic, I like that a lot.
Hmm.
So what happens to her then? It should be different and more elevated,
It has to be different. Hmm.
a bit more
Like, is it
intense.
like, yeah, I always think like in movies, like spirits are they're haunting you with your own fears,
Yeah.
or your own tragedy, or whatever. Like the clear one there is the loss of her husband,
Oh,
um,
nice. So
and
it's
it's
right
playing on
there,
that
isn't it?
somehow. Yeah, it's like it's right there. So it's like it's teasing us something, or like maybe when I don't know whether she sees a ghost captain. I've no idea. Like, or it's like I don't know. I think you've got to start playing into that, like where something is reminding of her husband, or how her husband died, or and we see, and it can be done nicely in a film where like we start seeing bits of backstory, and like she sees something reminds her, we get a flashback, or it's done nicely,
Yeah.
where you get those details of what happened to him, and that's kind of there's something there reminding her, it's putting her on edge, um, and distracting her. Because I think if you have your characters where they're sort of distracted,
Yeah.
then you can forgive them when they kind of don't do the most logical thing.
I have an
Like the
idea.
most logical thing is this place is dodgy, we're going. That's the
Yeah.
most logical thing to do. But like when they're distracted, they're not always on the ball.
I have an idea. So she walks around, maybe goes to some hub
Hmm.
where there's like control center where she can kind of pull up like a screen, maybe it's the Tony Stark kind of
Yeah, yeah.
screen, but she starts accessing like who kind of accessed this last, trying to like find a log sheet, and up
Hmm.
pops the name and face of the person who last logged in. It's her husband.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. So he was
What
here.
was he? I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
know.
yeah.
But
Yeah, okay.
immediately in your scenario of confuse them and distract them, like that is an
Hmm.
insane distraction that relates back to her own grief.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't, I don't understand at all. And then something happens immediately.
Hmm.
That's where like you hit
Yeah.
curiosity and confusion with an immediate kind of moment where it's just like, okay, this is not, I am completely uncomfortable now. And now I don't trust anything in
Hmm.
here. And we've done it
Yeah.
organically. We've done it with personal history, and the scare
Hmm.
is seeing a face on like a screen. And there's such beautiful ways you could film that in the technological environment we're in with screens, and maybe her face and the
Hmm.
behind the projection of him, but it's a real gut punch to her. And what would her instinct
Yeah.
be? It would be immediately, I've got to get to my kids. She turns her
Yeah. Yeah.
confusion and fear into more of a security kind of protection role, where she's like, I don't know what's going on, but I need to get back. So she starts running,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then we probably go back to the family or the three kids who are just kind of sitting there. I feel like we gotta now we've got to really kind of jump to the next level. So we've kind of gotten a couple of them scared. She wants to go. She's like, look, let's just maybe does she I guess yeah, she could want to go, right? Because there's nothing actually keeping them there and their ship isn't broken down as such. So immediately when you see that, you probably want to go, I don't know what's going on here. My son is injured. Some weird things are happening.
I think we could have that. I think we could, if we did go back and we did have like, look, that jump to the ship did break their drive as well. So there's some repairs to their ship to get going.
Yeah.
But they're confident they can do them. But like maybe she gets back and like the teenagers are totally distressed and Sam is gone.
Oh, I like it. Now what you said, the audience is always ahead. The audience are not ahead on this one.
No, didn't expect that one necessarily to happen. So look, he's gone. He's in the wind. What's happened? You know, and the kids were upset. He acted real weird and ran off, or like.
I love it. I love when you don't see it. Like
some weird shit.
It's all in your head. Then, like, what did he say? What did he say? And they're like, I don't know. I don't know. He just took off. Which way? That way. And now she's like, well, I have to go get him.
Yeah.
Right. You know.
That's it. Yeah. And she's going to tell them what to go back to the ship, I presume.
Oh, I like it.
But she's not going to say wait here. So
she say come with me.
Split up thing.
She's going to say come with me, and they're going to say no way. And she's like, well, then go back to the ship. And they're afraid. And it's like you're together. Like seriously, you know, I can't baby you. Like you can come with me. And that's how they naturally split. Two of them scared together, going back to the ship, and she's going off on her own. Goddamn kids, like, leaving her alone. There's our split. And again, I feel like it's earned too.
Yeah.
Sweet.
It's earned, exactly, yeah, because it's out of necessity. It's not through, oh, let's split up. Like Jesus, like, you know, it's earned. Excellent. So I'm look, is this where the ghost starts playing with them all, changing the environment on them?
I think
we're getting darker, we're getting mistier, we're putting in all these doors, we're less open spaces, more claustrophobic.
There's a bit of Prometheus to the bumbling buffoon scientists who get lost in the caves, but I mean, I guess we can't all be completely original. Like in my mind, I'm seeing these kids cannot find their way back, or they find their way back. Oh, well, they find their way back and the door is open to their ship. So we don't even do the bumbling lost thing, but why is the door open to their ship, you know? And then do they trust going on it? I don't know. It feels a little bit more original than, you know, the environment is changing and they're lost and stuck. So I guess because they keep coming back to choices, right?
Yes. Has Sam disabled their ship?
He could have.
You know, has Sam run off to save the ship and then run back into the... We better give these ships names. Okay. Like the truck. Okay. Has he gone back to trucker ship?
Yeah. Great. Good job.
Disabled it and now run back into the I don't know, the main ship, let's call it, the big ship.
Right.
They always have names. The ship's owners are kind of like a character themselves, so they do need names of some such.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, yeah, we skipped those names.
That's okay.
But yeah, so maybe he's disabled the ship and he's run off, and it's like, what the flip is going on with Sam? So yeah, so their ship's disabled. Sam's in the wind. The twins are separated from the mother.
And the mother's off on this journey to find her son and find out what happened to this crew that her son apparently met. So I think you can, like, so we don't want to just jump ahead. Like, so I like where we're at now, and we don't have to document every single moment, but that journey the kids have to get to the ship should be scary. To get to the open door to their own
Yes.
ship, to the trucker ship, should be scary, and there's tension there,
Yeah.
and there's moments where things just are unsettling, and there's some noises like kind of ratchet up that kind of tension. They get to their door
Yeah.
and it's open, and they're like who opened that? Like I don't understand. And the
Yeah.
scares of getting on. So when that happens, then we cut back to the mother. So what we're doing is cutting back and forth, but just for the sake of this conversation,
Of course.
we're kind of jumping over. So and they get onto their ship, the twins do, and on the trucker ship, and that's where they actually see it disrepair, like somebody's been here and tore out central pieces that are required, like make it visually immediate for the audience to understand, oh, someone's been here. It's not like they just turned this thing. It's like, no, somebody wrecked this. And so now they hear a noise on their ship, and they get off their own ship because they're like, no, like, and they shut the door. And that's quite a dramatic moment, right? Where they shut the door to the trucker ship, and now they've chosen to go onto this main ship. Which again, I like choices. I like when the protagonists have to make a choice, and what they choose impacts the rest of the story.
And there could be something like when they get on the ship, it's not just the engine is damaged. There could be some personal damage. Like if we establish in, Act 1 that Wake he has this photo of his dad. I don't know. There's something there. Yeah. And like when they're on the ship going, oh my God, someone's wrecked the engine. And they see there's like, they didn't just wreck the engine. They also damaged something personal to us, or something that meant something to us. So it's like, it is personal.
Oh, so I really like that. I know what you mean.
And you could establish it as something like, there could be an argument in the first act where Sam is like, Dad's gone, Wake, you have to get over it. And he's like pining over, he's looking at like his dad's old baseball or something like this. He has it. And they have that kind of tense moment. And then like we're at this point and they go back to the ship and there's things smashed, that item is also smashed. Yeah. So it's like they're thinking, oh my God, did Sam do this? So like now they think that. So like that adds to the fear and the terror. It's their own family member that's done this.
And it was a moment of tension between Sam and Wake as well. That item that's destroyed.
As now it's that personal.
Yeah. It's great. I really like it. So while that's happening, we're cutting back and forth to Nora, who's on the search for Sam and for the crew, and also very cautious about what she saw regarding her husband. I think that's where we kind of continue that. There's no point in now going away from the husband dynamic. I think we continue that kind of thing, She should see somebody, right? Or she thinks she sees someone and they duck away. Instead of having this like ignorant kind of walk towards them, it can be this kind of moment where it's like, oh, come on. Like, but what else is she going to do? She's going to try to follow the person that could be Sam. I don't know. I feel like she should comment on like, I cannot believe they got me chasing shadows in a brightly lit, a brightly lit, luxurious spacecraft. So again, there's nice because the dynamic is so different to what she's actually that's actually affecting her. Yeah. But something needs to happen then.
Like it's nice. Like I've seen it before. Like where you have, if the environment is somewhat changing due to what the ghost is projecting, it's like they could all be experiencing different environments which play into their own unique fears and like, play into that. Like, and I presume the ghost will like at some point then maybe talk to her in the form of her husband, to taunt her, to, feed on her fears. But I suppose it's like, you can pepper it with all those jump scares and all that kind of. So it's like, now we need to kind of figure out, like, well, what's she working towards, or who's working towards what to bring us to the end of Act 2? Yeah, like, what's their objective now? Because like they're making choices. What's their objective? here?
I think
Okay,
with
the crew, do they find a dead crew? Do they find no crew?
I was thinking that Nora can find
What's their plan?
someone who's petrified, so she finds a survivor.
Mm,
I think that's where that her last moment goes there, because if she doesn't find somebody, she's looking for specific. She's looking for Sam. She doesn't find Sam or the captain. She finds someone else.
mm,
It kind of feels like, yeah, you're giving her something unexpected. I was also thinking for Thea, since we haven't really built her up, a clear fear for her, especially being a twin, would be being alone, being isolated.
yeah,
You know, and up
yeah,
until
yeah,
now,
yeah.
we've never seen her alone. So feels like that's where we could play with her dynamic, where what
Mm,
this thing is trying to do at this point is separate these twins. And I understand what we're saying now. We kind of put the father figure into Wake's issue, but Thea could just have like
mm.
this abandonment kind of aspect. So I think
Yeah.
that could be
Or
good.
we
So
could like we could flip it. It could be that, you know, like, is it more interesting or less? Like, I like that thing of that fear of being alone, especially twins are very connected.
yeah,
But maybe if we flip it, and maybe like Wake has that issue, and Istia has the remnant of, something from her
I like
father
that.
that Sam
Yeah.
smashed. Just that, so it doesn't, it's just a little bit different, and maybe not what people are quite expecting.
Oh, I like
Um.
it. We just needed
So
to
yeah,
give
Wake.
Thea something,
Yeah,
because she's been kind of hanging in the background this whole time.
yeah, yeah.
So give her the smashed
But she could
item.
be like, to be honest, she could be the stronger one of the twins, who's like more driven and is like, Wade could be more the follower. Like, and she could be more the voice of, look, like, I want to get off this ship and I want to go live on a normal planet and have a normal life. And Wake is like tagging along.
I like it.
So, you could, you know, so cool. So we've Nora chasing ghosts. She maybe meets a survivor. Um, tells
Scared out
her
of
what?
their mind, like, and
Yeah.
I don't like this in stories where people don't talk straight, but it does. It is quite.
Hmm.
It's very beneficial to the writer if the person doesn't flat out describe it, but kind of goes like, maybe it's just he doesn't believe that Nora is real, and so he treats her
Okay. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
she's a
Yeah.
new issue that he has to overcome. So like he's the protagonist of his own or her own journey. So like they're gonna want to
I
protect
like that. Yeah.
themselves
Yeah.
from Nora, you know. And then finally that
They
gives
see
us a little
Nora as
dynamic
just
scene.
another manifestation.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
Just makes sense from
Cool.
their vantage point. So there could be a bit of a conflict
And like,
right
maybe,
there.
yeah, and maybe they're not like as, okay, they're terrified, but maybe they're terrified to the point of not caring anymore, but just like they're at that point like, you win. I've been, my adrenaline's been dialed up to 12 for like fucking 2 months. Like, I just do it, kill me already. Like, I can't do it anymore. They're like, they're terrified, but they're also like, they've given up.
Yeah.
And this is like, Nora is like, he thinks this is just the final go around, and he's given up or something like that. And Nora's like trying to convince this guy that she's not a ghost. What the hell are you talking about? Ghosts,
Yeah.
get him on board,
I like it. No,
So,
that's real
so she
fresh. I
gets him
could
on
even
board.
see when she meets that person and is like, just do it, fine, I give up. It's fine. It's over. So that kind of thing. Then you cut to
Yeah.
the other twins, and then you cut back and she's like, I don't understand. What are you talking about? Like, you're babbling out of your mind. So you kind of
Yeah,
have
yeah,
this,
yeah, yeah,
you have these
yeah.
breaks to leave the audience going like, what the hell did that
Of
mean?
course.
And you go back and she's literally trying to
Yeah, yeah.
figure out this nonsense that this guy is talking about, but how they went somewhere and something happened. They're not even quite sure, but little by little, people just started disappearing or going crazy. I don't know how we would prefer it to go.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, I think maybe it's like an artifact they brought on board that's haunted that started making everyone gradually go mad, and like people were throwing themselves out of airlocks. They were seeing things that weren't there. They, they were just like you could get that, like, he's a bit of an exposition dump,
yeah,
but at least complemented with great visuals, and you get like a 3 minute short movie
yeah,
where you see their story and you see it just like degenerating into like a nightmare, and like it's not that not everyone's doing the same thing or reacting the same way, and what makes it so hard is that everyone's reacting different on the ship.
oh, I
Like,
really
so
like
it's
that.
hard to have like so it's like hard for you to have like, how do you diagnose, like, say everyone gets sick, but everyone has different symptoms. So how the hell do you find a cure if everyone has different symptoms? There's nothing common. So like some people are getting very religious, some people are killing themselves, some people are attacking other people, some people are just like just having heart attacks with the stress of it. Some people are getting to escape pods and trying to run away.
Except
All
one
this stuff.
person,
But in the Heal the Hunt, yeah,
the captain was the only
this
person
guy.
who kept his cool, and that can be where we can get to like the heart of it. So Sam is quite calm, and
Hmm.
maybe that's the tell that we find out is like where the center of this spirit is. It's kind of around the calmest person, you know. So if everyone's acting crazy
Yes.
and everyone's acting different, the calm person in the room is actually the one who we should look out for, which is quite fun and unique, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You
Yeah, I
don't
like that.
expect the
Yeah, yeah,
normal,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
the most normal oriented person is the one you don't trust.
That's it. It's the wolf in sheep's clothing.
Yeah,
So no, I like that. That's cool. Um, so so we have our captain. We have the audience has their backstory. Nora
yeah.
has the backstory. Um,
Once she hears that, I think we've
is it
we've
that
ramped
like
it up
it?
even more. So get the kids like
Oh yeah, we're ramped up.
we
So
have to
she's
get
on a
you go.
mission now to she knows she's trying to figure out what she has to do. Maybe the captain says, "Look, it came on board with an artifact, and what it did was it sort of possessed someone who I don't know, put it in a cryo chamber or like put it in the safe or a vault. So it's like the artifact or the ghost knew they'll just throw this artifact into space to get rid of me.
Yeah,
So what I'll do is that artifact, I'll manipulate someone into securing that artifact somewhere in the ship that it can't be touched or found or destroyed or gotten at, kind of way.
yeah,
So the captain has been unable to ever get to the artifact.
yeah.
But now Nora and the twins will help her, but they're going to be going up against Sam,
I like
who
it.
is both protecting it, trying to kill them maybe.
Yeah.
Um, but then the artifact doesn't necessarily want to kill everyone because it needs to feed. It feeds off fear, generic maybe, or it feeds off something. So there'll be nothing
Hmm.
to sustain it, unless it's like, look, I'm just going to keep sending out distress calls
I
and
like
bringing
that. Yeah.
people to me, feed me. It's like what was that like? What's that like? Return of the Living Dead? Was that the one where like they had the zombies were smart and like they'd eat everyone, and
Come
then
to
they
the
just like
hospital.
they get into the police car and say send more cops or whatever, like,
Yeah.
and they keep sending more cops. They keep eating them and like send more cops. Um.
I
So yeah,
love
it
it.
could be something like that. Like,
I think it makes perfect sense too. And it's
so
logical. And
yeah,
now they have something that they have
yeah,
to find and destroy. Um, there's obstacles in the way, and
we
also
got a mission.
help Sam while escaping from Sam. And then I think
Mm,
eventually the kids have to, one of the kids, let's say Wake, has to work at repairing their own ship. So the one thing he didn't want to do,
yeah,
he's now forced to, like, that's his thing. He has to
yeah,
repair this ship. So, and all the
yeah.
lessons he learned from, one of them, Thea, or maybe it's Thea, since she has more of a connection to the father. but it's like all the lessons he was trying to teach her that she didn't want to learn, she's now trying to figure out because Sam took that on instead. And now she has to like repair the ship. So we're kind of getting into like the third act territory, but it's important to know where we're trying to get to with it.
Yeah.
So they do split up.
I think so. I think, yeah. It's like they split up, but they have to sort of get back together some stage. You know, they're they're sort of running away from Sam, who's tormenting them. And, you know, the captain makes up the force. There's four of them, the captain, Nora, and the teenagers. And as you say, Thea starts repairing the ship. We got to do this. And I kind of think that maybe like it's always that classic thing, like probably Nora has to sacrifice herself at the end somehow to save them. And then that's part of like, or maybe actually, maybe I don't know, maybe Sam. I don't know. There has to be someone I think should be have to sacrifice themselves. Maybe it's the mother, and it's like that plays into like Wake having to kind of like come to terms with loss, or I don't know, just something there, or being alone and setting up on his own, or I don't know. That's be something else there for Wake.
Yeah, I agree.
He is doing something.
He is doing something.
What does Wake do? I don't know.
And Wake is the. Yeah, it has to come from the isolation, doesn't it? I think
yeah, his fear of being alone.
What he needs,
he ends up on his own on the ship trying to.
He needs to get the artifact. Yeah. He needs to be the one who goes on his own to get it.
That's exactly what it is.
So like,
that's it. Yeah.
In order to save them, he needs to do this alone. So the mother is injured. Maybe don't kill her. That feels harsh to me to kill her, but she can't continue. So he's the one who has to go.
I'm always doing this, like in scripts. I'm killing everyone off.
We'll kill the captain. No problem with that.
I always kind of like it. Like one guy makes it back. Like maybe he's a bit like he's a bit eccentric now, and like he survives. I don't know. Like if he survived that long, it's a pity if he goes.
I feel like we should get one set piece in a very unique environment. I think I'm happy to kind of like start wrapping this into the ending now, because these kind of Storybreakers aren't about literally getting every single scene, but I feel like we're missing one key like memorable scene. Like what I had in my head, I don't know if we go this way. It is kind of like done, but I kind of had when you're talking about the artifact is hidden somewhere, that they go in this room and it's just this cryo like chamber of just people, and there's like in one of these pods it could be, you know, I just have this like it's a needle in a haystack moment, but with like these cryo chambers. It's the cryo chamber thing is very, very done to death, but that's kind of where I kind of went to when you talked about where this thing could be. So I think wherever it is, it should be definitely a memorable unique scenario that could only happen on a ship, because that's what we're trying to do is take the kind of dynamics of a haunted house, but put it onto, or dynamics of a demon possession haunted house kind of tropes, but implant them into a spaceship. And then what does that look like? What's like the basement of a spaceship, I guess you could say, you know, the attic.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like no, you're right. It has to be like it's that set piece moment. It's your Indiana Jones getting the treasure. But it's all done through Wake overcoming his fear. And like maybe like the set piece is like it's a large space, or like the world he's in keeps changing. I was like maybe it's actually not that physically complicated if the ghost wasn't interfering. So say it's like literally in the center of a big room, but because the ghost is focused on protecting it there, they keep changing reality. So it's like being in a holodeck that keeps changing every 2 seconds into the most scary thing or the whatever thing to try and make you too afraid to take that one step further.
Have you ever seen the Mike Flanagan film? Have you ever seen the Mike Flanagan film Oculus with Karen Gillan? it's like kind of a
I
haunted
feel I
house kind of
have.
story about a mirror. Like something bad happens in this
I
house,
have seen this.
and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I really enjoyed it. It's so discombobulating because
Mm.
they're like they've got all these cameras set up and they've got timers, and then all of a sudden they realize that time has passed and they watch the footage and there they are doing things they don't remember. And what you were describing there, we could
Yes.
have like the space version of that where it's just the reality is just wrecking Wake's head, and he's like, I I feel like
Mm.
I've gotten somewhere, but I haven't, like it's this real
Mm.
disorientation that he's feeling. So you kind of mix that vertigo kind of disorientation with
Yeah.
isolation, and then you can really ratchet up the fear. Like maybe Sam runs in and attacks him, but then Sam isn't there, that kind of thing. And he's like,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
stay
Yeah.
focused. Like he has to get comfortable in his environment, comfortable in his isolation in order to
Yes.
see through this fog that the ghost or the spirit is presenting to him. I still
Perfect.
think the
Yeah.
environment needs
Okay.
to be
Gotcha. Yeah.
unique, though. I want that location to be a bit different. Not the
Mm.
not the deck, not like the where the captain sits. A different part of the ship
Mm.
that hasn't really been seen too much. I guess the engine room has been done quite a bit. The cryo chambers has been done.
But
What is
we would
like
have seen
another
some of the
space?
engine room anyway.
Yeah.
God, I don't
Dig
know.
deep, Paul.
Like,
Let's figure this out.
yeah, I know. Like
Yeah.
ships are like what they're like hangars, engine rooms, living
Okay.
quarters, recreation. Like it depends on how big the ship is, I suppose. What was the purpose of the ship? Was it a colony ship? It could just have like I don't know.
We
Yeah,
won't do this now,
under
but
pressure now. Where you're
once you said
locating the
living
ship. Yeah.
quarters, I think in a previous scene, you got to go straight Shining and have like a scene where they go into the living quarters and it's just terrifying, like with
Yeah.
the with the concept of the spooky house,
Mm,
but the living quarters in a
that's it.
in
Yeah.
a spacecraft.
Mhm.
Um, okay, so
And play up the Shining role, like with like the Shining, like the big set piece is the blood coming out the elevator, like you can drop in all those sorts of things that mind playing tricks on them.
Sam is hunting his family.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's
All
it.
right.
Oh,
So,
good. Okay, cool. So
oh,
Tia's fixing the ship. Our boy Wake is getting the artifact.
yeah,
Nora
has been
and
injured.
Captain are fighting Sam. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like he's coming at them. They're trying to keep him at bay, restrain him, or something like that, and get him into the ship. Maybe they're trying to lure him into the ship to trap him, or trap him and
I
get him
like that a
onto the
lot.
ship.
Yeah.
Incapacitate him or something like that onto their ship, the trucker ship.
Yes.
And so, like as you said, like that style you were talking about earlier, we're constantly cutting. Like we're cross cutting between everything. Like
Yeah.
it's ratcheting, ratcheting, ratcheting. Everyone's on their own mission. There's something going wrong with Tia. Like maybe the ghost has invaded their ship a little bit, and it's like telling her she can't, or maybe she's seeing her father,
Mm-hmm.
and she just has to stay on mission and try and fix this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously they fail and they all die.
The end.
The end.
So
No, they
I
win.
think, yes, Captain and Nora, they basically trap Sam. Sam really injures
Mm,
Nora in the process. And probably that's when
yeah,
Wake shows up to help them in that last moment to trap him. It could be like cryo chamber or something. Because I like the idea of going on the ship, but getting
perfect.
if
Perfect.
Thea's on the ship, then you can't
Mm.
trap him on that ship because she's trying to repair their ship, the trucker ship. So they should
Oh
try to
yeah,
like
yeah. Well,
secure
yeah.
him
Like I think the
somewhere.
cryo chamber was perfect. Yeah, secure him in a cryo chamber, freeze him, get him on trucker ship, so
Yeah,
he's incapacitated.
yeah.
Yeah,
But Nora can't do it
good.
now. She's too injured. The captain is bone useless at this point. Like he's too fragile. He's not going anywhere near this artifact. So that leaves one person, and that's Wake.
Yeah, and
And
he
he's
he
got
could be like completely malnourished. everything. He could be like a wreck of a
Oh, it
person.
would be
Like,
so good though. Actually, this really lands us in a really nice third act where so they now get Sam onto the trucker ship, Nora injured on the trucker ship, hobbled, disheveled, impoverished captain on the trucker ship. When Wake turns around and Thea's repairing the ship. Now he has to go on his own back in, and in order to save Sam, he's got to destroy this artifact. But he has to go from their ship on his own back into the main ship and find it, which completely puts him in isolation, and he has the entire journey in this entire ship to mess with him as he tries to get to this one location that they know where it is, but everything is going to be against him to do, which is quite a nice, clean, earned third act, So
yeah, I like that. That's good.
That's where he does it. We play with those kind of Oculus, kind of constant discombobulating moments as he eventually gets to the heart of the ship. And I don't mind actually where it is. We don't have to get so deep in the uniqueness of the setting. It could be the captain's chambers, or it could be the what am I thinking? What's the deck? Like the main, the bridge. Yeah,
the bridge
number one.
Or it could be like the most mundane place in the world. Just spin it all on its head, But like, there's loads of room to play there with whoever took it on. One thing I was just thinking there, we got our disheveled captain.
Yeah,
the ghost will never kill everyone because it always needs one person alive on that ship to feed off,
and to do the signal.
Yeah. So it's like, what if there's a risk? Just this last bit of there, Wake is doing his thing, cool, but the ghost only needs one to keep it, to sustain it. Everyone else is on the trucker ship. It could start trying to close the hatch and jettison the trucker ship because they're too much trouble now, and it has Wake, and all it needs is Wake to sustain it, and it sends out another distress signal. So
I think it's great.
Maybe something like that, and like that again feeds into that thing of being alone. You're going to be alone forever here, and then battles it all, gets back just as the airlock closes. The trucker ship gets away. Something like that.
I think that's awesome.
Just builds that tension.
That's what we do. Yeah. We build up him getting to the artifact. We do the whole scenario where it's the discombobulation. What is real? What is not? He finally breaks through. The ship is closing, or the hatch is closing. He gets in, and together they're gone. Right? Yay! They win.
Yeah.
But did they? Because then you can actually play it back. That it could be the thing where the audience think, yay, we did it. And organically, it feels like we did. But then there's something in the end where the family are drifting along, like they've escaped alone. They're like, it was detached and they couldn't really help it. Like it kicked them off the ship or whatever. But they're detached. And it turns out that Wake is all alone. And he's now signaling for other people. That kind of thing. I don't know. It doesn't exactly land, but it's to fool the audience into thinking they win. But because of the nature of the misunderstanding the reality.
Wake is sitting there. You see the end, they get away, but really it's only in Wake's head.
Yes.
In Wake's head, he got back to the ship and they got away.
Yes.
And then, so you have that moment, as you say, we're like, we won, happy days. And then you flip it, and the ship is hurtling through space, and Nora's like screaming at the airlock for Wake that he's still on the ship. And we cut back to Wake, and Wake's just sitting there in the mess hall or wherever it is, in La La Land, dreaming that he is away and his energy being fed on by the ghost. And then we cut to space, and we hear the SOS message looking for more help. Send more space truckers.
There it is.
And then Dennis Hopper turns in his space trucker movie. It all ties in together. It's the same cinematic universe.
I love it.
No, I dig it. Good. That was good. Yeah, it was
No,
good.
that's it. That's how it ends.
I like that.
It's that
Yeah,
it's trapped another
yeah, it's good.
soul. It squeezed the life
Yeah,
out of the
yeah,
captain, and it needed somebody fresh. And what we got
that's
was
it.
the person who's afraid of being alone is alone for until
Is
his
alone.
soul is destroyed. Ew, Mr. Bush, that's just
It's good.
reckless.
It's good. I like it.
Yeah,
Cool.
great. And there it is.
Done.
That's
There it is.
the science fiction horror film built off the top of our heads from absolutely scratch. So yeah,
Yeah.
that concludes our episode. Thank you so much, Paul, for joining and breaking story. I'm actually
Oh,
thrilled with that take. I would 100% watch that. What do you think? Like you said, you haven't seen
I think
something like that in a
yeah.
while. How do you think from that
Mm.
fresh, organic story that we created? How would that compare to those other films that you mentioned before, like the
I,
Event
I
Horizons?
I think it would. Yeah, no, I think it would fit in well, and I think what it has that like oftentimes you don't get is that family dynamic.
Yes,
And I think that's like, those sci-fi shows we like Firefly and Serenity, like dysfunctional people, but they had that family dynamic. They weren't necessarily family. I
yeah,
think, you know, and I love, I really enjoyed, like I love obviously all those movies like Event Horizon, Alien, Aliens, all that. But like the people were already kind of at each other's throats oftentimes in that, like, but like
yes,
when it's family, I think you have much more opportunity for people to connect with the characters and see themselves or people they know. And I think we have a family reeling with tragedy,
hmm
and you're going to want them to all come out unscathed. So you're going to be rooting for them. And yeah, I like it. I like it.
Well, that's a wrap on today's episode. Thank you, Paul, very much for joining us to break story. And if anybody wants to see Killers Within, that's available on all platforms in America. Is that correct, Paul?
That's it. Yeah, we have it was released worldwide there 2019. So it was on DVD, Blu-ray. In America, you can see it, I think, on pretty much every platform. The UK, it's on Amazon, um, Google movies, YouTube movies, all the rest. I think iTunes, all that kind of thing as well. Japan, same. And in Ireland, it's on YouTube movies and Google movies. If you want to check it out.
Fantastic. If you're in the mood for a thriller horror hybrid, you can't go wrong with Killers
Mm.
Within. And if you enjoyed this episode and have ideas that you'd like to hear on future episodes, let us know in the comments below. My name is Chris Brennan. Thank you, Paul Bush, for joining us today. And we will see you guys next time for another Storybreakers episode.